Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. I am your host, Joe, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Joe.
Let's get horny.
Horny! That probably went on for a little bit too long.
Your voice was a little raspy there. Just a little.
Just a little bit. Just a wee tiny bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cup of Joe podcast, Anime Edition. Today, it's part 3 of our Kill la Kill review, baby.
Finishing it up.
That means we're finishing it up. Episode 17 through 24. If you missed part 1 and 2, go back. There's a playlist on the channel. Go back. You can find them. The first one starts off with us talking about, well, I'll let you discover that on your own. It's a pretty fun start to the episode. But today, we're talking about the last 8 episodes, the finale arc third of the show, which, if we're being honest, Joe, this thing goes fucking balls to the wall in the last third of the show.
Yeah, it's they definitely said, "Oh, yeah, some of that. Just throw it all in. Yeah, take that." Like, it very much, again, we've been comparing this to Gurren Lagann a lot. Very similar with the last 8 episodes of them just saying, like, you know what, fuck it, go all out. Not to the same extent of mechs throwing planets, but it's close. It's pretty wild.
This shit goes global, baby.
Yeah, it gets pretty wild. The power of horniness goes a long way, just like the power of friendship. Both of them,
Yes.
hand in hand.
Yes, it does. Power of horniness, which also I will make a comparison a little bit later on to a movie and series that you enjoy quite a bit. Might have to do with Dragon Ball, but we'll get to that a little bit later, because I have some interesting parallels between some stuff that happens later on in the show. But where we left off last week, Cultural and Sports Grand Festival was beginning, and so, Joe, I just want to jump right into it because, like,
It's a front.
what we got going on here, it's a front. It's Lady Raggio and Satsuki are going through, and they're like, all right, it's the Matrix, baby. We're going to take everyone. They're going to be batteries for the clothing. And so, like, that's just the preface of this, because that's, like, what starts this off. Because then we have one of the top 10 anime betrayals of all fucking time. And I love it, Joe. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Bro, Satsuki stabs Raggio right through the boobies. Like, damn. Like, couldn't, like, through the cleavage. Like, insane. Great aim on Satsuki's part, I gotta say. Very impressive.
Fucking impeccable. And would you expect anything else from Lady Satsuki?
Damn, she pulled a Darth Vader against Lord Palpatine, and instead of just kind of, like, picking the old guy up and chucking him, she was like, I'm gonna stab you between the boobies.
You're real hooked on this getting stabbed between the tits, Joe. I don't know
It's one of those things. It's one of those things where, like, they could have obviously went through the stomach, but they said nope. We got to show off that cleavage.
And I think, in part, I believe it was like, this is some easy fan service, very phallic.
Oh, I'm not complaining. I love it. I mean, this is great. I mean, give me more, but I want to point it out.
Yeah, but I'm not complaining either, because I also think it's a very important decision with the fact of, like, instead of going through the stomach, you instead go through the cleavage, because it's like, in a sense, Raggio is all about fashion and showmanship and being like, hey, look at me and how fucking perfect and beautiful and impressive I am. And then for Satsuki to go through that, like, the assets, you know? I feel like that was a very intentional decision as well, being like, yeah, fuck you.
Yes. Yeah, and this is my first time watching it, and I got to say, I was shocked. I was not expecting that whatsoever. And what shocked me even more, it wasn't like, I'm killing you to take over your plan. It was, I was never a part of your plan the whole time, and this is where the coup begins. And I was like, wow, Satsuki's a good guy, question mark?
Yes, and that's what that's what I love about the characters in this show. It's like, from the beginning, Satsuki was kind of like seen as this asshole, and she was always doing these things, and you kind of believe that she's going to be working with her mom, and blah, 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 all the usual sort of like underling shit. Again, Darth Vader, Palpatine, very similar sort of crap. But then when the betrayal comes, and she was like, yeah, all this time I've been working against you. And it's like, it's not the most impeccable laying of seeds in the earlier bits of the season. You know, it's nothing like Attack on Titan, where it's like, exact characters from like episode 1 are later revealed to be major players in like episode 70. It's not like super perfect, but it is cool to go back and see. It's like, all right, the entire point of Honoji Academy was to, number one, build up an army of people that Satsuki could then use to rebel against Lady Ragia with, and then number two, to try and ensure that that army was then resistant to life fibers, which are, of course, the main combatant or enemy or tool of Lady Raggio. And I'm just like, holy shit, that's actually really fucking cool. And Joe, I'm gonna be completely honest. I knew at the end of the show, like, whatchamacallit, Satsuki and Ryuko were gonna be like friends, because I remember they all fought together against like the big giant yarn ball in the sky, which we'll get to in a second. But I didn't remember exactly how it happened. So when the cultural sports and grand festival actually started up, and then Satsuki betrayed her mother, I shot up in my seat with excitement. I was like, "Oh fuck! I forgot how cool this was."
Yeah, it was. It really fits Scott Satsuki's personality, and it was one of those things where I was like, "That's my girl. That's my girl."
But that's not just your girl, Joe. That's Lady Raggio's girl. And as we come to find out, she's got a few more girls. Um, Again, everyone knows this is spoilers. We've been talking about this. But we come to find out Satsuki isn't only, or Satsuki isn't Raggio's only daughter. As it turns out, Ryuko is the daughter of Lady Raggio.
Yeah, that was another one where I was like, oh, okay, that's why they showed that baby and kind of focused on it. So this is kind of referencing, I believe, in the same episode, like Lady Reggio says that when she was originally testing for the life fibers with, oh my goodness, what's his name? Oh, Mr. Matoy, Ryuko's dad, where he had a different name. I forget what his old name was, and he changed it. That they were like
Mm-hmm.
trying to like infuse the light fibers into like a human being, and they did it with Raggio's second baby, and it ended up dying, and they kind of just like tossed it in the trash.
They
But
just fucking binned it. They were like, get out.
dude,
And it fell into a garbage chute.
yeah, that shit was kind of intense. But I was like, oh fuck, like graphic but not graphic, if you know what I mean. Um,
Yeah. Like when
and
you think about it, you're like, oh, fuck, wait a minute. You just tossed a baby carcass into a garbage chute. But in the actual show, it's not like drawn with the most like gravitas, being like, oh no. It was kind of almost comedic in a sense.
yeah, yeah, it was like so casual where you're like, wait, what the fuck? Um, but we soon find out that that baby lived, and Dr. Matoy then betrayed Raggio and faked his own death and ran away with that baby, which would become Ryuko. And we also find out two smaller things I want to bring up. So he was able to save Ryuko, and he made Senkets out of Ryuko's DNA, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why Ryuko can is the only one that can really hear him and use his full power. Again, other people can technically wear Senkets, which we will get to, um,
Mm-hmm.
but Ryuko's really the only one where she can wear him and he is being worn by her. Like, you know what I mean? That two-way
Yeah.
street. And just a small little note that I want to say this because this is one of my favorite characters. Again, not too important, but something we also find out is that Dr. Matoy didn't get this right on the first time. He had to do a lot of testing, and my boy, Mr. Mohawk Boy, Tsumagu, we find out that his sister died while testing it, the Senkets or just the Kamui, and we find that's why he has such a kind of hatred towards life fibers and also kind of like an unwillingness towards Ryuko and Senket. So just a little tidbit where I was like, oh, thank you for explaining why he doesn't really doesn't really like Ryuko that much, or doesn't trust her, because he's one of my favorite characters. I think he's pretty badass. So just a little thing that I wanted to put in there. But yes, now Ryuko and Satsuki are sisters, and Ryuko is kind of having a hard time breaking this all down. Would you say?
Yeah, she kind of goes a little berserk and then kind of falls into a little bit of a coma. Um,
With the
and then
one
we have
we had the 1 month time skip with the explosion.
exactly the 1 month time skip. Which, how do you feel about this time skip, Joe? Do you like it?
It caught me off guard, and I like it.
Nice. Yes. Okay. Um, I always find time skips to be very hit or miss, being like you could
Mm-hmm.
have shown so many interesting things in there, but I think this does a good job where it's not super far into the future. It's not like 2 years or something like that, but it's just like 1 month, and this is what's been happening since that 1 month. Everyone from Honoji Academy, like the Elite Four, Lady Satsuki, all that sort of stuff, or Lady Satsuki is currently being held captive by Ragyo. Um, Ryuko is in a coma, and like the Elite Four members have teamed up with Nudist Beach and are doing their own thing.
Yep.
And so everyone, you kind of see where everyone's lying at. And I'm not going to go through all this stuff beat by beat. Eventually, Satsuki ends up breaking herself out because she's a fucking badass, as always, and it's great.
You can't forget the other awkwardness of Lady Ragyo spanking her. I mean that.
Yes, she was spanking her, and there's a little bit of touching the no-no spot going on yet again. At this point, I'm used to it. Oh, Lady Ragyo, you old crone, you. I don't actually think that it's okay. Just to be clear, everyone, it was a bit.
It's a weird
it was
one.
just a bit of a funny.
It's a weird.
It was a weird one. But yeah, so then Ryuko also eventually wakes up because of the battling that's going on outside and all like the horrible sounds that are being produced. And she's a little mad when she wakes up. She hasn't quite sorted through all of the shit that she
She got a lot of feelings.
was
and she
awoken
feeling
to.
them.
She's feeling all of the feelings right now, and she's going through a bit of an emo phase. So she does what any teen would do when you're going through a bit of an emo phase, and she goes and she confronts her mom to kill her, of course. And instead of killing her, her mother dresses her in junkets, and I was like, oh fuck, oh no, because then she arrives on the Naked Soul, which is just Die Gunman again. But we're not
Yeah.
going to talk about that
Yeah.
because it's cool still.
It's a reskin.
It's basically just a reskin of the other fortress, but it's fine. It looks cool. And Joe, this is where I want to talk to you about the palette swaps, because we have Ryuko wearing junkets, and to face her, Satsuki puts on senkets. And so I need to ask you, which one did it better?
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Look, nothing is going to beat Satsuki and Junkets. I'm just going to put it out there. Like that's on par with, oh my goodness, I'm forgetting my girl from Gurren Lagann, but that's on par with her in the teacher outfit.
Yoko?
Yeah. That's up there, man. It's up there. But if I'm picking with the clothes swap, I think Satsuki kills it, man. I mean, she got this thing about her. She can rock anything.
I agree. I prefer Satsuki and senkets as opposed to Ryuko and junkets. I don't like the pants. Baggy pants. A little weird.
Yeah, and it's so freaking big on her shoulders. Like it just
It's
doesn't
so
work.
big. It's so comically
It-
large.
and I
it's
say
like, oh
this,
my
and
God.
I'm critiquing it, but I got to say, I love the idea of seeing them swap. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, that
Yes,
worked.
it was very cool. Also in this fight, I'll be forever grateful because Satsuki wearing senkets becomes a Beyblade. And I'm like, anytime that happens, I'm a happy boy, Joe. You know me. I love my Beyblade fight scenes.
Bro, nothing like a good Beyblade fight scene in a non-Beyblade anime. Oof.
Exactly. So eventually, they're fighting. All that sort of stuff comes to a head. Eventually, Ryuko just rips off Junkets, which was super fucking badass, and I loved it. I was like, oh my god, there's so much blood. I didn't love it because there was so much blood, but because it was just
Nah, I
amazing
liked
seeing
it
that
because
kind
of
of
the blood.
character. Well, I'm saying I didn't like it because I'm talking about me, Joe.
I'm talking about me. I'm talking about I'm talking about number one. Sorry.
My mind also went there, and I'm ashamed of that. But yeah, and that's another thing that I just want to talk about real briefly. I had this realization I think last week, but I just didn't bring it up because it didn't fit anymore organically. The fact that almost no, yeah, every main character in this show is female. I don't think ever gets talked about. Like this isn't your standard male-led show. It's like you have Ryuko, you have Satsuki, you have
Ragyo,
Ragyo, you have
Mako.
Mako. Exactly. It's like so many of the actual like massive hitting characters in this show are female, and then of the Elite Four, it's mostly male dominated. But those are all like secondary characters, and so I had that realization. I was like, that's pretty cool. And I love that no one in the show is like, I can get this done because I'm a fucking woman. Or like, no one outside of the show is just like, yeah, this is like really great because they're fucking. It's just like, no, it's just a really cool fucking action show with some badass characters. And the fact that they're women is just kind of like, yeah, they're women. I just love that about that. You know, it's not like trying to
It
do
doesn't
anything. It's just
it
like,
doesn't
this
make
is
a
what
big
it
deal
is.
about it.
Yeah, it's
Which,
great.
yeah,
I love
no.
it.
Again, it's something where, yeah, it definitely crossed my mind as well, and I was like, oh, cool, all right, move on. Like, it's not, like you said, yeah, not making a big deal about it. But Joe, I got to talk about like, I feel like I lost track of time when this ending actually happens, like the last three episodes. Um,
Yeah.
what ends up happening is they're trying there's this whole thing where they create a device where you can get people out of their life fiber suits and all
Yeah.
this stuff, and they're trying to get Ryuko out of Junket's, but Nui reveals, oh, I stitched it to her light fibers in her body because again she's not human, she's a hybrid of life
She's a
fiber and
life
human,
fiber, yeah, hybrid.
and they can't take Junket's off without killing her. Eventually, she just rips off Junket's, and again, just blood everywhere. Um,
So much blood.
and she ends up living, and Ryuko kind of has this, 360 of, okay, I really fucked up there. She accepts Satsuki as her sister. There's this nice little scene of her realizing, like, hey, you have crazy people protecting you too. It was cute. It's heartwarming. I love it. I also like Satsuki being a little bit more cutesy during that scene too, and kind of
Yes,
being a little softer.
it was fun.
Yeah, yeah, I like seeing that softer side of her. Um, and then eventually they team up and they're like, okay, we gotta take down Ragyo. And this big Ragyo fight is I have like no memories of it. Like it's literally like it's so much just happens and dramatics and the giant fucking gourd. Like what in I'm so
The
confused.
giant yarn in the sky, Joe.
Again, the rules
Yes.
just go out the window, and yeah, the big Ragyo fight's pretty cool.
Yeah, so the giant gore, the giant yarn in the sky is the primordial life fiber, which is, the thing that's like controlling all of the, whatchamacallit, the life fibers throughout planet Earth. And yeah, she's just fucking Ragyo is on this thing, just flying to a. She's trying to get to a communications array so she can beam this message to her satellite that will then awaken all the life fibers in the world and then encompass the world in life fibers, thus making it, the ultimate cocoon energy battery, whatever the fuck. Again, Matrix. The fight that actually occurs between Satsuki and Ryuko against Ragyo on the giant gourd, as you put it. I prefer to think of it as the sacred yarn ball, but that's just me. It is not the best fighting that I think
Okay,
occurs in the show.
this is where my opinion again. I'm just gonna put it out there, Joe. I'm not a huge fan of this ending. I have mixed feelings about it, and especially with this fight,
Interesting.
like it's cool, like seeing some of the stuff that happens, and like kind of seeing Ragyo kind of go crazy and do like her weird head spins and stuff like that, and all the weird body contortions, and
And then
seeing
the grabbing of her tits.
yeah, like it's cool, um, but I don't know, like they end up basically what ends up happening is at one point you think Ryuko gets chopped in half, but she doesn't. It got me good for a second. I really thought I'm like, holy shit, did they do that?
They just murk the main character.
But they didn't. they handled it pretty cool. And I mean, long story short, they end up not killing Ragyo. They put Ragyo in a position where she has to kill herself, and she just destroys her art, and she kind of explodes, and that's about it. The fight's over, and life goes on. They have to go on with their lives and rebuild the city. There's this weird thing where I guess Mako and Ryuko are both gay. I don't know. Maybe I misinterpreted that. Um, I we also have to talk about the fact that like it is now clear that Ira has a crush on Mako, and Mako is kind of like oblivious to it. Um, and again, this ending, I, I literally watched the ending and I thought to myself, "Oh, that's it? Interesting. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of wanted like almost
Interesting.
like a post credit scene. Again, I feel bad keep comparing this to Gurren Lagann, but I loved Gurren Lagann's ending. I feel like it just wrapped everything up so well, and I felt like this ending. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting or what I wanted. Again, it's not bad. I just have it as eh. It was just a normal ending. It wasn't special. I don't know. I don't know. It just didn't sit right with me, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Okay. I'm going to go through some of these things and then we'll see if
Yeah.
your opinion changes a little bit. But so, yeah, after the fight, that Ragyo, Satsuki, and Ryuko have, the primordial life fiber is basically taken out by Naked Soul. Um, Giant knife ship goes flying through the heart and helps Ryuko just kind of like kill the heart of the massive flying sacred gourd yarn ball. And then you have the big fight between Nui, who kind of becomes one with the life fiber carcass,
Again, like
and
what?
very strange. And then Ragyo, who's now in her ancient or sacred garment, wherever the fuck it is. And so like they're fighting Ryuko and all that sort of stuff, and Ragyo kind of like ascends to her ultimate form and flies up to the space satellite because she's gonna go hit the thing and send out the message. And Ryuko is like, all right, I know what I have to do because I am neither clothing nor human, and therefore I am also both clothing and human and everything. And it's in like realizing that Ryuko is sort of just like, I can fucking do this. And this is where the comparison comes in, Joe. Now I'm about to make a lot of comparisons to Battle of the Gods. That's right. We're talking about Dragon Ball Z and Kill la Kill. So, at this end part, Ryuko, who is in, her Senketsu form, she absorbs all the Goku uniforms of all the friends and transforms with blonde hair and a red outfit into like her ultimate powered up form. And then she goes to have the final battle with this person in space, where it ends in kind of a standstill with both of them just looking at each other. And Joe, doesn't that sound exactly like the fucking Battle of the Gods ending?
It sounds quite familiar.
It's so funny. Like, I actually looked up when Battle of the Gods and then like this stuff aired. Like this final episode aired in 2014, and I think the Battle of the Gods movie was something in like 2012, 2013, something like that. So Battle of the Gods predated this, but I was I was like, holy shit, did Battle of the Gods rip off of Kill la Kill? Because I would have thought that would have been so funny, but it didn't. I think Kill la Kill might have just been homaging that a little bit, or it was just a happy coincidence or whatever. But I just found it very funny. The hair turned yellow, which I feel like is a clear nod to Super Saiyans. And then the primary color of the costume was red, which again makes sense because life fibers are red, and like the red thread of fate and all that sort of stuff. So that makes a lot of sense. But also, Goku's hair turns red when he is given the power by others to become a Super Saiyan God in that movie. And I was just like, am I picking up on something here, or is this just a little bit of a coincidence? But yes, she has the final fight with Ragyo in space, and it ends in a way that isn't quite satisfactory to what I'd feel a lot of people would like. Like she doesn't fully kill her. She just kind of stops the life fibers from taking over everything. And then Ragyo and her are just left confronting each other in space, and Ragyo is like, I am not going back as a prisoner with you. And she rips out her own heart She fucking Kali Ma's herself and then squishes it, and then she explodes into life fibers. And I'm just like, well, goddamn. But I would argue the emotional impact of this show was never actually with Lady Ragyo, because then, as Ryuko falls back to Earth, as Senketsu dies because he's absorbed too much power, and he gives up the last of his power to protect Ryuko from falling through the atmosphere and burning up. And then Ryuko is saved by Satsuki, the girl who in the beginning she swore she was going to kill because she needed to get the information out of her about her father's killer, and that they were bitter rivals in the beginning. She's saved by her, and then supported by all the other, like the Elite Four members and Mako and all the other Honoji Academy members and the family members of Mako and everything like that. And so it's the fact that she, in becoming her truest self, being like, I am neither clothing nor human, therefore I am all of them. She was like, individualism, yes, win, that's me. I'm going to be the best me that I can be. And then the fact that she's supported by all these other members of the cast that we've come to know and love throughout the show, I found that to be the real big, like, that got me in the feels, man. It was like the big final battles, I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. But then when that shit hit, I was like, fuck, man. That's some good shit right there.
Well, Joe, I see the arguments you raise, and I'm still not a big fan. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't. Again, I don't know what I wanted, but it didn't sit right with me. I was like, this is not what I was expecting. Again, maybe this is my disappointment in the fight, or maybe it felt rushed. I don't know, but it all just kind of felt too easy almost.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It definitely also did feel pretty rushed because, again, so much shit was crammed
And
into
again,
these
I'm not
last
saying
eight episodes.
yeah, and I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. Like I had a smile on my face, and I was cheering on Ryuko and Satsuki the whole time watching this. And again, like you're saying, when she's falling, like that scene is awesome. It's really great, especially seeing Senketsu go. Like, oh my goodness, my heart. But yeah, seeing them all kind of work together to help save her, very cool. Um, I don't know. Like I said, it just felt like it was almost like too easy, in my opinion. Again, this is just me, but I see the points you have raised, and again, I don't hate it. It's just one of those where, like, I think of the Gurren Lagann ending, and I'm like, wow, that was fucking perfect. Like, way to wrap it up, even with, like, the post-credit scene. And then with this, I'm like, it's wrapped up, but I feel like it could have been a nicer wrapper, personally.
And keep in mind, these are our thoughts on just, again, the ending of episode 24, because we know this is 25th episode. We don't have access to it, and I don't know. I haven't looked into it at all.
I read the
like,
description, and it's not even that like important.
Okay, I figured it wasn't because it's not tacked on to like the actual series. It's just sort of like a bonus thing that the Blu-ray got. So I was like, can it really be that important? I don't think so. But yeah, I also feel the same way to you, where I'm like, listen, Gurren Lagann is a beast of its own. And while this is like a sister series, and a lot of people compare the two, I don't think Kill la Kill ever reaches the heights that Gurren Lagann does. But I also don't think it was trying to.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate the kind of stuff that it was trying to push with its own like themes and messages and stuff like that in its like own unique way. So I agree with you. It does not quite reach the heights that Gurren Lagann does, but I still enjoy it quite a lot.
Yeah, yep, I get that. And I just want to ask Joe, so is it insinuated that like Mako and Ryuko are like a couple now?
No, I don't think so. I think when Mako was talking about having to go on a date with Ryuko, I think of it more in terms of like a girl date, like a girl's day out sort of a thing.
It might have been like a translation error or something, because I was like a little like, whoa, I'm like, was that just like a reveal or something?
Yeah, it was so casual. It could have been, but I don't know. I didn't really interpret it like that. I just see them as like really good friends. I don't see them as like they're romantically involved with each other. But again, up to your own interpretation. I don't care if they are. Like, if they are, good for them, great. But in my personal headcanon, I was just like, it just seemed like a friend date sort of thing. Like Mako was just like, no, you need to come back. We need to have fun girl days because we never got to have those, and you need to not have to be like a weird battle warrior. You just be a girl with me. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Well, Joe, I gotta say, overall, I really enjoyed Kill la Kill. I would recommend this to anybody who enjoys anime. Watch Kill la Kill. Yeah, it's one of those where like I feel like if I were to make a top 10 list, it wouldn't fall in the top 10, but it is one of those where I'm gonna recommend it to anybody that's enjoys anime because this thing is fun, it's unique, and it's horny, man. It is horny.
It's got some great character design. Some really I'm saying that as a bit of a joke because it is so horny, but also the character design is really fucking cool. I fucking love some of these designs. They're just so cool.
Well,
I would
no, you go.
Oh, okay. I would give this a. I'm trying to think about this real quick. I'm comfortable with this. I'm giving this show a 7.5 out of 10. I like it a lot. I would I would recommend it to most people, at least if they were comfortable with like the horniness and violence and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd be like, yeah, this is pretty damn solid.
Yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10 overall. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. And we don't know what we're going to be watching next, do we?
No, not quite. But we shall talk about that later on, Joe. Let's not discuss it here. Later. Later.
There's a list, everybody. There's a list.
There is a list. All right. Do you have anything else to add then to close out Kill la Kill?
If you don't watch Kill la Kill, at least just look up these 2 words and watch the video. Satsuki Junketsu. That is all.
Wonderful words to leave us on. So, again, everyone, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. All the usual YouTube bullshittery. Let us know if you've watched Kill la Kill. Let us know what you think about it. Is it impossible to not compare it to Gurren Lagann? Can you watch it in a vacuum? I don't know. I mean, I have my own opinions, but they're my opinions. Let us know your opinions. I'd love to know that sort of shit. Also, let us know what kind of anime you'd like us to look at. That might be a fun thing to do. Just be like, oh, let's take some of these little questions and things like that from you people. So that would be kind of fun. Suggestions. That'd be nice. So, with that being said, everyone, we'll love you, we'll leave you, and goodbye.